Oh my
Mercury
God.
retrograde said no.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm super excited to be here with Sylvia. Sylvia finished her program, The Awakening the Healer, the 1 year program, and she's going to be sharing her journey with us today. Welcome, Sylvia. Give us a quick intro about who you are.
So my name is Sylvia. I like long walks at the beach. No, I'm kidding. I do enjoy the beach. My name is Sylvia. I like to call myself like a little baby bruja. I am brand new to an ancestral practice that my ancestors is part of my ancestral lineage. And I am so happy that I survived this healing session with Victoria, and I'm very grateful.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say something else, that you survived the whatever something else. You were referring to the Awakening the Healer program.
Yes, I was. I
So,
survived it because it was, you know, you don't know what you're getting into until you're finally there. So,
yeah. So it sounds like it was torture.
no, it was not torture. I think that I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I knew what it was, but then when we finally got into it, it wasn't fun the first two sessions, at least for me. It wasn't fun. It was eye-opening, but it wasn't until the third session that I was just like, ooh, I kind of want to keep going. I'm excited for the next one.
Wow. So tell us what happened in the first and second session that it was like, oh boy.
It was terrible. No, I'm just kidding. Besides the integration, like just going deep and actually getting in and doing the work, it's hard. Healing is hard. So I thought that it was something like more flowery and prettier and cool. So those first two sessions, going back and visiting past lives was just, it was real. It was real.
Yeah.
If I wasn't a believer of any of this, that those first two sessions were probably what made me really believe, like, wow, this is so real. This world, this universe is just amazing at all levels.
So the first two sessions were past life related.
Yes. The
And they
first,
were fun.
actually, the first, we did a lot in the first one. We did a womb regression.
Oh, that's right.
And I remember that was intense. I think I cried. I can't remember. I think I cried for many of the sessions, which is fine. It was purging. But I do remember the womb regression, and having the conversation about what my birth looked like, and then having that conversation with my mom afterwards.
What did she say?
Um, well, confirming exactly everything that I saw.
Oh, wow.
So
You
that
never told me
was,
about that. You never told me that she confirmed. Hello.
yeah, I mean, yeah, she did tell me that I don't remember. I can't remember now if it was the umbilical cord that was, but it was very dangerous. I was born through cesarean, so and then remembering like those conversations prior to, and feeling that fear, and
Yeah.
for me as a mom, just thinking about how all the anxiety and all the fear that I had during my first and second pregnancy could possibly be affecting my children right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us what made you decide to do the program so people have a reference point.
Absolutely. I remember part of our conversation was for a very long time, I felt like I was like a functional depression person. Like I was just depressed, but living through it. I can hold normal conversations, I can be social, I can be happy, but deep down there was something missing, there was something wrong. That triggered some anxiety, not some, a lot of anxiety and fear, which caused me to feel trapped, not want to leave my shell, not leave my comfort zone. So that's one of the reasons why that I reached out to join the Awakening the Healing program.
the womb regression are so crucial, right? Like we have no idea how powerful this stuff can be, because we remember everything that we've been through. And those past lives, sometimes people, we do expect to go to very magical, beautiful lives, but when we need healing, a lot of the time we're going to find that when it's, the past lives are not that nice sometimes, right? So what happened in those past lives? Do you remember? Like what made it so hard?
I think one of them, I might have been a slave. One of them was actually going into like my childhood, listening to like family members talk about the scary parts of spirituality. Uh, I remember being a spirit guide. That was the one that I was like, oh, this is so cool. And being in like complete darkness with like little orbs of light. That was probably like not the only one that I remember. I remember the majority of them, but the one that was transformational for me, where I said, whoa, that was really cool. And one where I was a spirit guide. I think I just said that. I was a spirit guide in one, and the other one, I don't know what that was. I was just floating in the atmosphere, I guess. I was a living particle. I was an atom. I don't know what I was, but that one, it was just so magical, and the transitions. And I remember in particular the spirit guide one. When I was guiding, I think I was guiding someone from childhood to adulthood, and like now I understand what, I guess, how it is with our guardian angels, or maybe with our spirit guides when they're talking to us and we don't listen.
Yeah.
So that one was, wow, I can see it. Like trying to communicate with someone in a physical, who's in a physical form, who doesn't feel me, doesn't hear me, but knows that there's something, telling them, don't do this, don't do that, but still choosing to do it anyways. That was
Mhm.
frustrating.
Yeah, so there was some frustration there. And I remember one, and I'm not sure if it's that one or the particle one that you mentioned, where even though it was beautiful to experience being there, when it was time to separate, there was a lot of, I'm not sure if it was anxiety or pain or what it was. You remember that?
Um, Actually, no, it was fear. I remember it was fear because I remember during our integration session, we talked about how most people get very anxious about separating. Nobody wants to separate. And I was just like, look at this, we're separating. That was very magical for me. I do remember kind of like, uh-oh, where we're going, what's going on, but feeling like kind of this sense of relief when it
Mhm.
was separating. So yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting to experience that, right? Like that separation, where almost reminds me of, when there is like the bitter sweetness of pain, like something like when you're itching and like it itches, it hurts, but it feels good to like continue to,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. So then you went into, after you made it, after the first and the second session,
I survived.
you
I
survived.
came back. I kept coming back.
What made it change? Like what did you notice within you that made you continue to do this?
Really, really weird. There was stuff that was happening, obviously, in this physical life that would give me like that general anxiety, that situational anxiety that just triggers running late, or, something's not going, I have no control over something, and realizing that I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't having like my anxiety, and my form of how it manifests in different ways. For me, is just the overthinking, the back and forth, the what if, what's gonna happen, what if this happens, what if that, that was that overthinking mindset that kept coming through. And it got to the point where I would say, no, this is my decision and I'm gonna make it and I'm fine with it. And or I'm stuck in traffic. I have no control over it. There's no reason for me to just like I'll get there when I get there. Or just having conversations with my parents and kind of having some form of empathy for them, knowing what they went through while I was a child, when I was being born, before I was born, and having patience with them. And even my relationship with them has gotten, it was never terrible, thank goodness. But it's gotten better.
You mentioned two things. You mentioned depression and you mentioned anxiety. So was the anxiety that I just want people to understand, so that if they are in the same place, they can understand how some of these things that you're talking about, they might want to get help for. Because sometimes people think, oh, it's normal to have this back and forward, or to feel like I can be happy, but deep down I know something is missing. And well, that's life. I mean, I was there once, so I know what that feels like. But somebody that doesn't know, right? There might be, that's just normal, right? So when you mention the back and forward, what is that like?
Kind of like a mental argument with myself where I'm too afraid to take opportunities because of what may happen. And then the sudden realization of I missed out because I was too anxious to participate or to do whatever it was. And because of that, I lost out. And now like that feeling of emptiness was
Mm,
just there.
gotcha. Okay. Tell us, towards the end of the program, what did you notice? Like, what made you feel like you were complete with your healing process?
One of my main concerns that I wanted to address was my anxiety. Uh, I'm not saying that traditional therapy doesn't work. That it's not what I'm saying. I've gone through therapy. I had this amazing therapist the first time, and then I transitioned to other therapists, and it just didn't work out. It was literally me just talking, and then like the last couple of 10 or 15 minutes, me realizing like, oh, I just solved my whole problem speaking to myself and them trying to intervene, with their practice, which is fine. I believe that many of us still do need traditional therapy. However, for me, I think a lot of my anxiety was also in connection to, was spiritual, particularly. Um, I was going through the process of baptism into the 21 divisions. And for me, I think that hand in hand, that tremendously helped me. I'm not gonna say it helped me with the anxiety, not the spirit, not my baptism. I would say that it helped me with a lot of the fears that I had regarding spirituality. Those conversations that I heard growing up and things that happened growing up that I chickened out and didn't want to see things, and I didn't want to feel it and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to see nothing come out of the dark. I think it
Mhm.
definitely helped me. What made me complete with the program was realizing that the anxiety, I'm not gonna say that it completely disappeared. We're human,
Yeah, of course.
but it was so much better. Like I didn't like things were happening in life that a year prior to starting the program, I would have lost my marbles. I would have gone bonkers. I would have been all over the place. And the way I was handling these things, very fearless, just knowing that things that were not I was not in control of, it would be fine, just letting it go and not feeding into the anxiety. Like it was just happy. It would happen naturally, which sometimes I think about it, I'm like, whoa, right? Because there were times that I wouldn't even want to go to events. I wouldn't want to go outside because the anxiety was just like, no, because this could happen and this could happen, this could happen, or what if this happens or whatever. And that back and forth was just not constructive to my being.
Yeah.
And through the program, as time went on and we continued to work on it, which I feel like anxiety was big, following with like fear, because I think it went hand in hand. I felt like, wow, the world could be collapsing around me and I'm okay. So it was that feeling of I have other like kind of like I have other fish to fry instead of like sitting here. It could be one situation, one random email or a text message or a conversation that would have me all day like, oh my goodness, maybe I shouldn't have said that, like that. You know, like the devil and the angel from
Mhm.
movies, like da 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 da.
Mhm.
And then I went from that back and forth to just making decisions according to what was best for me.
That's beautiful.
And something that we also discussed was I'm potentially giving this anxiety to my children just by the way I act. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So the program definitely helped in that aspect because now I'm not a reactive parent. I'm not going to say that sometimes I'm not like, again, I'm human. I'm
Yeah.
normal. I'm a flesh, right? Uh, but I take a step back and I try to remember, right, that I'm I want my children to be amazing children, amazing adults. Uh, I don't want them to go through like whatever I went through. And obviously, I didn't go through nothing horrible. Like, I remember us having a conversation where I was just like, if I ever become famous, like, I have no traumas. No, we all have traumas. We all have like small traumas, whether it was somebody making fun of you at school or, like you slipping and falling and people laughing. Like, those little things become little traumas. And I didn't want to be the person giving my children trauma.
Yeah.
So definitely realizing like, wow, I have changed and it's extremely noticeable, even with my relationships, with work, and different aspects of my life.
Yeah. I thank you for saying that. And I remember one of your session was so I thought it was amazing because the way that we started the session is that you were in the bedroom watching TV and it was 9/11, something that we see on the news
Mm-hmm.
can impact us to the point that, oh my God, we have no idea because it may remind, I mean, it led us to a past life as well, I think, or
Yes,
another experience, right? Where eventually you went into that experience and it basically was activated by seeing what happened with 9/11, which was horrible for, I think, most of us, right? Like, but a child that is taking that in and the horror that comes with that is like tremendous.
absolutely. That was my trauma. We used to eat dinner in front of the TV watching the news. So this person died, this exploded, this and that. That's what we used to see. And my mom is a baby boomer. That's natural to her. Okay. That's not natural to me. I don't I don't put the news in my house. And yes, we do listen to the news temporarily, but once we get whatever we need, it goes off. And I remember going to that one and remembering how it impacted me and the fear and how terrified I was. And I think it also brought me back to a situation that happened in a plane when my mom got sick. And I was there with my sister and my cousins, and I believe one of my aunts. And, like these little bits of stuff is like adding on. It's like a Lego, like, you keep adding on.
Right.
And or maybe like Jenga where you take a piece out and it comes right back into life later on. So something like that. And I just FYI, my mom still calls me to give me the news. And it doesn't affect me in a way where it would have a year or two before, where it'd be like, no, don't tell me that. That's terrible. And be like, okay, está bien. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, mommy, I'll call you later. We were getting into arguments because I just say, Ma, why are you telling me this? And she wouldn't understand why it was so traumatic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Had I not experienced going back, I probably wouldn't be able to process it anymore.
Right, right. Yeah, because that's the way that she connects. But unfortunately, that's not the way that you want to connect. So it was, but now you can just hold space for her to have someone
Absolutely.
to ride without reacting to what she's sharing, which is, sometimes we want to put boundaries. Don't tell me, don't, but that's the only way that they know how to. So it's hard to
Exactly.
break that and remove ourselves from those type of conversations with some of the older people.
Yeah, and I feel bad because a lot of the times I was just closing the door on her, and I'm realizing that she just needs to share this. She needs she they my parents have gone through their own traumas that
Mhm.
unfortunately they may not ever, heal
Not
from.
in, yeah, not in this lifetime,
Absolutely.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, they're both coming back. I know they're coming right back. Maybe me, maybe I don't know, but like mommy and papa are definitely coming back.
Oh boy, that was funny. You're coming back, and you're coming back, and I'm going to come back to help you.
Exactly, exactly. I'll hopefully by then I have healed for the lineage in both sides and it would be a smoother sail. They need
Yeah,
to pick easier assignments next time.
yeah, they overdid it for this one.
Yeah, just a tad bit, un poquito.
Anything you want to share for those that are going through initiations, or anything that you want to share about your journey with baptism?
Absolutely. Take your time. I was desperate for a long time. I was just like hopping from, and I used to be ashamed to say this. I'm not. I used to go from readings to readings, from consultas to consultas to different people because I was just trying. I don't know what I was looking for, to be honest with you, but it wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy at all. And I see it now that it wasn't healthy. Before, I loved it. I was just like, I didn't hear what I wanted to hear. So I would go to other place and try to hear what I wanted to hear.
Oh my
Now
God, wait a
that
minute. You did tell me once, by the way, I don't do baptism for 21 division, but when I was reading back then, right? Remember? You told me that, oh my God, I hated, or I was so upset after that reading.
you called me a chicken. Yeah. I
Did I?
think it was with you, right? It was, yeah. You called me a chicken because I closed myself out to the spiritual world because I was terrified. It's scary. No, of course. Like there were times that I was, even when I reached out to you, which was literally months before I started the process, before I even got to where I am now. I remember I hung up and I started crying. I was so upset at you. I was like, I thought she was gonna help me. Obviously, a reading is only like a roadmap. Okay. Like you have to follow your way. You have to follow your spirit. You have to follow yourself, your higher self. And I think for me, it was a beautiful reading because now when I read my notes, I'm like, wow, look how magical she said I was. But I was so hung up on like the little bits of details that I was just not happy with for some reason. Would I have had a reading today at this moment like that? I would have been like, wow, that was beautiful. But yeah, it's I'm grateful for where I am today. I'm not gonna say that I feel 1,000% whole because again, I'm human and regardless of anything, I still
Yeah.
stuff that still happens in life. And life is a lot about how you react.
Yeah.
And had I not gone through this program, I probably would have been reacting to a lot of life circumstances today a lot negatively than how I am actually handling it. Um, yeah. And that being said, for anyone that's struggling, reach out. I feel that sometimes we need to look for all avenues. The traditional therapist, the Awakening the Healer program, uh, spirituality. Go to whoever, if you follow an ATR or not, whatever spiritual, whether it's church, whether it's going to anywhere, just find that person that's gonna give you guidance and support you. And you've definitely been there for me, holding space. And I'm not gonna talk about breath work because it's just such a horrible thing. So we can continue.
Breathwork is probably one of the most amazing thing that I love to really get real answers about my journey and all of that, but it is hard sometimes.
It's hard getting into breath work. Once you're in, is absolutely amazing. And the stuff that I channeled and the messages that I received during breath work should be the reason why I do breath work.
Yes, yes. But for some people, you're right. For some people at the beginning, like the first few sessions can be a little tough because they're not used to it. They need to learn how to breathe. They still don't know how to let their body come online. But once you start doing breath work, many times, you're going to be able to get in minutes. Instead of taking 10 minutes or 15, you might be able to get in 2-3 minutes, which is mind-blowing because it's just breathing in a proper way, right?
And
So
it
I
was
think you did 2 or 3 breath work. And one of them was so beautiful because you were really, really deep.
Yeah, it took me, I remember I had to follow up with a work email afterwards. I don't know. I think I had to pick up my son from school. I don't know. I had to do something very important. And it took me a while to come down from it. Like my whole body was very jittery. Like I was still feeling stuff. That was beautiful. Maybe I'll try it a couple of times more, maybe.
So I interrupted you. You were talking about baptism. Was there anything else that you wanted to share about initiations, baptisms, reading? I just feel like I caught you off.
No. We definitely, I think we hit the right points. I am grateful where I am. I feel like every day I am connecting more to my spirits, and I'm learning more because that was my main complaint. You know, anything. What am I supposed to learn? So I'm grateful that I am where I am right now, and this is only the beginning for me.
Yeah. For all of us, we're always learning.
Absolutely, yes.
Anything else you want to share, or do we feel complete?
I feel complete with this video. Thank you.
Me too, me too. Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Thank you, Victoria.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
We'll see you all on the next one. Thank you.